23 creepy facts that are 100% true, but you may wish some of them were not. 1. Elmer McCurdy was a failed Old West outlaw. His preserved body was put on display in a traveling carnival funhouse, and years later, he was eventually assumed to be mannequin, until he was used on set for the TV show The $6 Million Man. His arm accidentally fell off during the shoot, revealing bone and muscle, and that he was a corpse, not a mannequin. 2. Mites really might live in your eyelashes, as creepy as that may sound. In fact, many people have mites living in hair follicles. In one 2014 study published in Archives of Medical Science that sought to study the prevalence of these mites, research showed that 41% of the people had them hanging out in their eyelashes. Typically, they're not that big of a deal, but they can sometimes cause some irritation. 3. There are more foreign cells or bacteria and fungi in your colon than human cells in your whole body. Dr. Glenn H. Englander, MD, a gastroenterologist, reports to Romper. 3. Cotard's syndrome, also called walking corpse syndrome, is a condition wherein the patient believes they are dead, dying, missing parts of their bodies, or don't exist. Some people with Cotard's syndrome may stop speaking or eating since they believe they are already dead. Creepy, right? 4. Egyptian mummies wouldn't be so rare today if the Victorian British hadn't eaten most of them. This practice, known as medical cannibalism, began in medieval Western Europe and continued until the 18th century. People believed that consuming medication, including parts of mummies as an important ingredient, could treat a variety of ailments, including coughs, epilepsy, headaches, and heart attacks. 5. Capgras syndrome is a mental delusion where you believe that the people closest to you have been replaced by imposters. The delusion most commonly occurs in individuals diagnosed with a psychotic disorder, usually schizophrenia, but has also been seen in brain injury, dementia with Lewy bodies, and other forms of dementia. It presents often in individuals with a neurodegenerative disease, particularly at an older age. It has also been reported as occurring in association with diabetes, hypothyroidism, and migraine attacks. 6. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. Our brain constantly interprets the information it receives from the world. Does that mean we are all experiencing different realities? Some believe the answer is yes, as there's really no way of truly knowing if another person sees the world the same as you do. Interesting to think about. 7. The entire planet could be immediately destroyed by any one of a number of cosmic events that we have no way of seeing or stopping, like rogue black holes, solar flares, or asteroids colliding with Earth, large enough to cause widespread devastation. Worse, there are some events we can very much see coming, but do absolutely nothing about. 8. As many as 50 serial killers are on the loose in the United States. This number is according to the FBI. However, some, including homicide archivist Thomas Hargrove, speculate that around 3,000 to 4,000 serial killers remain active in the world at any given time. 9. Another creepy fact that dates back to ancient England is that cave settlers fashioned cups out of human skulls. They hollowed the skulls and removed the surrounding tissue until they could use it as a drinking vessel. 10. Alchemists used brain matter as an ingredient for an elixir of eternal life. In the 1600s, John French was an English alchemist who used brain matter for his concoctions. 11. A person will shed around 40 pounds of skin in a single lifetime. Just like snakes, humans shed their skin too, but at a much slower pace. Accumulated, however, your shed skin will amount to almost half the average body weight. 12. Your coffee mug probably has fecal matter on it. The creepiest fact about your office might be found in the kitchen. Scientists have discovered that 90% of coffee mugs are covered in germs. The culprit? Shared kitchen sponges. They caused 20% of these coffee mugs to test positive for E. coli. 13. The Judas cradle was a means of torture where the victim was forced to sit on a spike. Medieval Europe had no shortage of torture devices. For the Judas cradle, the victim's limbs were tied with ropes as they were lowered onto a pyramid-shaped wooden device until it penetrated their anus or vagina. This horrifying fact doesn't stop there, as sometimes operators would add weights on the victim's legs to increase the pain. 14. During mummification, ancient Egyptians removes the brain through one of the nostrils. This scary process is called excerebration. Ancient Egyptians were known to insert an iron hook through the corpse's nostril to draw out parts of the brain that they would then place in a jar. 15. To date, scientists have only been able to account for less than 10% of the ocean. The ocean comprises over 70% of the Earth's surface, and with only less than 10% of that accounted for, Plenty believes the ocean to be home to some of the creepiest and most frightening creatures alive. Today's technology continues to advance, but the deep levels of the ocean still make it difficult to explore further. What's clear is that so far, the unknown continues to scare plenty of us. 16. Some fish have human-like teeth. Fish have their fair share of horrifying facts, but the pacu fish from South America might be the creepiest for some just because of their teeth. Despite being related to piranhas, pacu fish have straight, square teeth that look just like ours instead of sharp fangs. Pacu fish use their molars to crack nuts and chew through plants. 17. Your house pet will probably want to eat your dead body. This creepy fact might change the way you see your pets. There have been many cases of domesticated dogs and cats eating their dead owners. Scientists hypothesize pets will lick and nip at their owner's face for comfort out of the distress of seeing them unconscious or hurt. Eventually, they draw blood, and instinct takes 18. Mike the headless chicken was alive for 18 months after being decapitated. What's the backstory to this creepy fact? Farmer Lloyd Olson meant to eat Mike for dinner with his wife, but the swing of his axe wasn't perfect. He missed the chicken's jugular vein and most of the brainstem. Even without a head, Mike was alive, and he wobbled and crowed in his tour of fame. 19. Fatal familial insomnia makes it impossible for someone to sleep for months. One of the creepiest facts that many people might not know about is that some people inherit a rare genetic disease called fatal familial insomnia, FFI. FFI makes it impossible for someone to fall or stay asleep for long. Because this can last for months, insomnia leads an individual to feel so exhausted that they suffer from high blood pressure, weight loss, and severe exhaustion until one eventually succumbs to death. 20. 1 in 50 people in the United States has an unruptured brain aneurysm. That's around 6.5 million people with brain aneurysms that can rupture at any moment. Another horrifying fact about brain aneurysms is that it is fatal in 50% of cases, with 15% of deaths occurring before the victim even reaches the hospital. 21. Even after decapitation, human heads stay conscious for a while. One horrifying fact about death is that life doesn't leave a severed head right away. For around 20 seconds, the human head remains conscious. But what the human head thinks about in its last moments is unknown. 22. Teratoma, or monstrous tumors, are evil twins that can grow on your brain. Yamini Karanam was 26 years old when doctors found a tumor on her brain. During the surgery, the doctor discovered that the brain tumor had bone, hair, and teeth. Another creepy fact about these monstrous tumors is that doctors believe them to be undeveloped twins who didn't survive in the womb and thus latched onto the surviving baby. 23. Medical errors cause around 250,000 deaths every year. One sad and horrifying fact is that medical errors are the third leading cause of death in the United States. An incorrect diagnosis, delays in therapy, and mismanagement of a condition are all medical errors that have cost lives. However, what might be most horrifying about this is that these are all seen as preventable deaths.
Follow me for more weird, wild stories and more.